Are your paintings looking stiff and cut out and cartoonish? Or are you getting lost in the watercolor process? There's too many things to keep straight. Where do you even start? Well, the ghost wash on crack technique, which I took from James Gurney and then modified it a little bit more. And James Gurney, by the way, learned it from this guy. So this technique has been handed down through the generations of artists. So the ghost wash follows a specific formula every time, starting in big areas with very wet, light, watery paint, tea consistency. And then you move on to smaller areas with milk consistency. And then you move on to even smaller areas with cream consistency. So that this ghost wash on crack technique is a really good foundational technique to set your painting up for future success by getting in the main values in a really soft, dreamy way that lets the water and the paint do most of the work, and the artist, you, can steal the glory. And if you don't know what I mean by tea, milk, and cream consistency paint, be sure to check out my watercolor clock video, which I learned from Joseph Sabukvich, and that will be linked in the comments in a pinned comment along with a bunch of other goodies. So be sure to check out my pinned comment after you watch this for more good videos that I talk about, products I love, and I will also link to James Gurney's blog. At the end, I will do a little bit more of a chatty update with some of the other things that I've been teaching you guys on this channel. I'll tell you about my paid online options. I will show you some other paintings. I'll talk about all that at the end, but for now, let's jump into the demo of this ghost wash. And then if you're interested, I'll talk a little bit more about the ghost wash and other things. Lots of good stuff, but let's watch this footage. Here we go.
All right, pretty much with any watercolor painting in general, you start with the biggest shapes, the lightest lights, and the brightest colors. So we're going to start with pure color over here with some Holbein Aureolin and some transparent pyrrole orange, very watery. So the ghost wash is the underlying underpainting. It's like the undergirding of your whole painting. And a lot of times you do start with yellow because yellow is the lightest valued color. So in watercolor, in general, you start with your lightest lights and you do the biggest shape. Notice I'm putting this yellow pretty much almost everywhere under this cat, because if you look at the reference, pretty much everywhere, even in the cool shadows, there's an underlying yellow, hint of yellow to all the colors. I have done other tutorials where there's very strong blue light and it looks blue. So next, we're going to move to a slightly thicker paint and a slightly darker paint, and we put it in less of the areas, so smaller areas. Because there's a lot of this brown burnt sienna in the cat. And if you ever wonder, well, how do I know? Well, look at your reference, it'll tell you. And that's part of my SAVOR acronym too. I'm going to talk a lot about the importance of using your reference to guide your decisions. And so anywhere I get hard edges, look, I sprayed it. If you don't know what I'm talking about with tea, milk, and cream consistency paint, watch my free watercolor clock video to learn about pairing painting on different levels of wetness on your paper paired with different paint consistencies in your brush. Look how much I'm scrubbing my brush into that paint over there when I pick it up. That means I'm trying to get it thicker, meaning less water is mixed in. The less water you mix into watercolor, the darker it will be. And as this ghost wash sets up, I work in smaller and smaller areas with thicker and thicker paint. So you're starting to see me build up those stripes. And I'm painting in stripes, but on wet paint. I'm not letting this dry, and I'm furrowing out the edges. Edges are so important when you're painting animals. If any edges get too hard, just give them a spritz with a misting sprayer or one of those facial misters. I just learned that from the Carol Carter workshop. So, okay, next we're going to pull out the big guns for the stripes with cream consistency chocolate brown for the stripes. I chose Van Dyke Brown. You don't have to use my exact colors. It's the values that do all the hard work, which means color, and the exact color you use, what tube of paint you use, is much less important. But what's great about Van Dyke Brown is really heavy and a little chalky, a little opaque, and it spreads in an interesting way. Different paints spread on wet paper differently, like the Epic Lamp Black. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have got to watch my chick tutorial using lamp black, and it furs out in the most fascinating way, y'all. Again, still I'm using my 3/4 oval. If I didn't mention that before, I'm using a silver black velvet 3/4 oval. And look what happens to the stripes when I paint them with cream consistency on this wet paper. They don't spread out as much. They hold their shape, but they do bloom on the edges, making this soft, furry effect. And this is perfect for so many different animals that you may want to paint. But of course, also it works for dreamy landscapes. Any large area where there's lots of different values, like the musculature of a horse, works well. If your paint blooms out too much in this stage, just clean out your brush, wring it out so it's wet and clean, and mush it on the areas where you want to lighten or have more control. So there's lots of things you can do. I call it babysitting when you're in this stage. There's a lot of things that you can do to babysit, like these stripes. If they were out of control, I could mush them up. If they were too hard-edged, I could spray them. All right, and then at the end of your ghost wash, you let everything completely dry. And now I'm going to show you even higher speed footage real quick, just to let you know. You usually often want to continue building on top of this ghost wash. It's an underpainting. And so you let it completely dry, and then you can go over it and add texture. You can add more color. You can change the color with glazes. There's all kinds of different things you can lay on top of it because watercolor is transparent. So your ghost wash is going to shine up through the layers you put on after this. All right, so if you would like to watch this particular tutorial from start to finish in real time, remember you can watch it on my Patreon along with over 200 tutorials now. You get instant access to over 200 tutorials. And when you join for a year, you can email me a painting and I will do a more in-depth critique of it. And I've got a couple critiques that I've published here on YouTube. And some of my students say that's where they learn the most is watching my critiques. So be sure to check those out. All right, back to Rachel.
All right, I hope you enjoyed watching this video about the ghost wash. And now I'm going to go all chatty on you and talk about watercolor, talk about the ghost wash a little bit more. So with the ghost wash, what I want you to notice is that it starts really wet. And when you have dry paper and you paint with really tea consistency, now tea consistency paint is the most watery paint. It's sliding around on the top of the surface of the watercolor paper because it hasn't sunk into the paper. That's a good thing because that means you can put tea consistency yellow next to tea consistency orange next to tea consistency whatever. And then you can actually tilt it around and let the watercolors merge and blend with themselves depending on what you're painting. So with the landscape painting especially, I did that. I made this big old hot mess. I dropped in a bunch of different colors and then I tilted it around. And when I did that, it created magic. It looked so ugly, you guys. And then I tilted it around and the watercolors were on the surface of the painting because they were mostly tea and milk consistency colors. And when you let watercolor flow and do its thing, sometimes it will create magic for you. So I love that. And so then with your ghost wash, you can think in terms of, as you're painting with really wet paint and water, it starts absorbing into the paper. And that creates a different mark when you go in with milk consistency next. You start with tea, then you graduate up to thicker paint, milk, and then you do cream consistency. So with the milk consistency, the water has absorbed into the paper more. So with milk consistency, slightly thicker paint, when you apply it, it's not going to move from way up here all the way down to here. It's going to stay more in the area you put it. So you can work on smaller areas of darker values. And then as that sets up and absorbs into the paper, you can go in with your cream consistency. Well, the paper is still really wet, but it's even set up more. And you can go in with thick cream consistency paint, like perfect for like things like these stripes, but also things like a tree line in the background, or like in a portrait, the dark side of the nose, if there's bold light, you can put in the darks of the shadow side of the face and the eye sockets, for example, or the dark areas of the hair is a really good place to use this in a portrait. And you know a really good place? Sorry, I keep pointing at you. I'm really excited. I don't mean to point. Rude. So in portraits, a really good place to use this technique is at the hairline where the dark hair meets the lighter face. Definitely paint that on the wet paper with cream consistency paint while your face is wet to make a soft hairline. You do not want a hard hairline around the face, for example. So those are just examples of where the ghost wash can really serve you well to keep everything soft and dreamy as long as possible. And that's the idea. So you let the ghost wash dry, and then any little hard areas that you need that are an absolute must to tell your story. And if you want to be a loose, dreamy painter, choose your hard edges very selectively. Usually it's in just the area of interest. Or for my Grandpa Parker painting, I let the ghost wash completely dry, and then Grandpa Parker was the main area of interest, so he had to have more hard edges, and that tells the viewer, oh, this is the area of interest. But even with him, I softened a lot of the edges on him with the scrubber. And I can't live without my scrubbers because softening is so important. Even after your paint is dry, you can soften with a scrubber and lighten with a scrubber. That's a whole nother can of worms. Go check out my video about scrubbers. You can't paint watercolor without scrubbers if you want to be a soft, dreamy painter. I mean, check it out. It's really cool. So anyway, I'll tell you about my cruise, you guys. There's like only 5 spots left. I can't believe that. Thank you so much to everyone who signed up for that Alaska cruise, June 2027. We're going to have fun. It's going to be low stress, fun painting. But it's in those moments of fun experimental painting is when you learn the most because you're relaxed. You're not judging. That's where we're going to try to be on this Alaska cruise. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to teach my friend Barbie Mathis, who that's what she does full time, is teach in-person beginners. And so she's a great teacher. So she's going to be amazing. And then Dean Krauser is coming, and he does the most amazing, loose, dreamy work. And he's one of the top watercolor artists on Etsy. So he will be teaching. I'm so excited he agreed to come. Another pinch me moment. Yes. So that's going to be fun. And then I also have my online school, and this is my main income, you know, with artificial intelligence taking over the art world. And especially with the pandemic, so many people, so many talented artists got online. It still blows my mind that people choose me when there's so many good artists to choose. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Those of you who do choose to take my online paid lessons, because without that, I couldn't do this. I'd have to go, I would have to work 9 to 5, which would be very hard because I have a son who has a lot of, he needs a lot of attention. He really does. And also I have fibromyalgia, and as I get older, I am 50, believe it or not. People don't believe that, but stress and part of fibromyalgia is not having any energy. And so I don't even know if I could do that. So this is such an amazing opportunity for me to be able to work on my own terms, doing what I love most. This allows me, instead of working a desk job somewhere, this allows me to be painting when I would be having to clack away on some computer, putting in numbers in a spreadsheet. I don't know. But it's because of my paid members that make it possible. So thank you so much. And also, if you want to leave me a tip, you can leave me a super thanks in the comments. And I appreciate that so much. And it makes it possible for me to keep doing this and keep expanding on what I'm doing. And I appreciate it. So check out my Patreon. You can join that for free and just kind of get a feel for what happens without paying. But please sign up with an email that you check, because I will message you, and I honestly want you to write me back. I don't want to, I'm not being just cute and like sending out these little emails. I want you to answer me. So hopefully that's a reminder. If you are on my Patreon and you don't check your email, please do. You probably have like 5 messages from me that I want to hear back from you. So anyway, thank you so much for making this my reality. I love it. I love what I do. I love teaching, and it means the world to me. And until next time, go watercolor your world. Bye, everybody.